Hey YouTube, it's Froogle, and here we are with the review of the X55 from Saitek. You remember I did the unboxing and was pretty excited about it. I'm still very excited about this. Gonna talk through the negative aspects first, just to get those out of the way, and I want to address some of the comments that I know many of you are already thinking about posting. So let's get those out of the way first. Yes, it's plastic. I know that there are, I'm not going to mention the brand name, but there is one other brand that competes with this that is substantially more expensive, $200 to $300 more expensive, that is not plastic, it's metal. This is plastic, it's also cheaper, get over it. It's really not a problem. This thing feels pretty sturdy. You saw in the unboxing, I can shift the table with this thing, it doesn't slide. It's not particularly heavy, that's not really a big problem. It's just about the right weight. It doesn't move around the desk. I've not had any problems with it at all. That's the first thing. Second complaint people have had, and I've seen it in the comments, I want to address that as well, is these switches, these toggles here. We're going to zoom in and look at these in a bit more detail, but these switches here, they are switches. So up is a switch, down is a switch, up is a switch, down is a switch, as opposed to a three-way toggle where you flick it up and it stays there and then flick it back. Again, not a problem. On the other sets that I've used that have a three-way toggle, it's actually kind of strange with how you map the buttons in a simulator, that you have the switch from up to middle as an independent joystick button. That's kind of awkward if you're programming the switches in a sim like DCS or FSX. Having these as independent switches is pretty cool. Next complaint, this didn't bother me either, I've got to say, the trigger. It's a single stage trigger, so no dual stage trigger, which if you're flying an A10, is a problem because you have a dual stage trigger on an A10. First stage will stabilize the aircraft, second stage will fire the gun. Similarly on World War II aircraft you have a dual stage trigger there for machine guns as the first pull, cannon as the second pull, and machine guns. I've not found that a problem because you have that modifier down the bottom, the pinky switch. You can hold that in for the second stage, so hold the pinky, hold the trigger, that's second stage. Other than that, I can't think what other complaints people have had, so I'm just going to dive in with the review of my opinions now. Now I've got to stress, this was sent to me for review for free. I didn't pay for this from Saitek. Okay, this was provided to me for free. However, my opinion is my own opinion. I'm not paid to say what I'm about to say. And I think to summarize everything before we dive in, since I got this, I have not touched any other controller. It's that good. It really is that good. I've not used my other HOTAS that I have. I've not used my Saitek yoke. I've not used the Fly 5. This has been the only thing that I'm willing to fly with. It is amazing. It's really amazing. The reason it's amazing is this, the joystick and the interchangeable spring. I put the light spring on fairly soon after I got it, and I've not changed it. I thought I would be changing it to a heavy spring for fighters and a light spring for helicopters. That's not the case. I've used the light spring all the time. And what I've found, and I've done so many live streams with this now, and what I've found, and I keep saying it in the live stream, is it is so precise that the movement out of center into a position, you know, you have that heavy clunk going into center on many joysticks. You don't typically have that on this, so it's not a big deal to push it just slightly off center. And not a big deal at all to really finely control how much roll or pitch you have from this joystick. I love the sensitivity of this. That's one of the main reasons I've been flying with this. Second of all, I actually like these toggle switches. I like that they are, that is a button press, that is a button press, you know, up and down are independent button presses. Like that a lot. The next thing I love about this is all these rotaries. You have a rotary on top, you have a rotary on the bottom, you've got a rotary on the side of the #1 throttle, and you have two rotaries underneath. And what I started to do recently in X-Plane and FSX is set these main rotaries on the base of the throttle to be rudder and elevator trim. And that adds a whole new dimension to flying. I don't know why I've never done that before. In a real aircraft, you had that big spinny wheel on the dashboard on a Cessna, for example, which is your elevator trim or pitch trim. Setting a rotary up to do that pitch trim is just so natural. You can trim the aircraft in no time at all. I don't have any other controller, even the very expensive one, that have rotaries on that I can use for trim. Love that. What else have we got here? On the side, got two multiple way hats down there. I think they're 8-way hats. These are, I was a little worried given the size of them and how flimsy they feel about being precise with getting a specific movement, like forward, backwards, up or down. No problem at all with that ever. And I love this big red button that I typically use as lock. In fighters, in the Black Shark, that's my lock button. The one thing I haven't used and I thought I would use more is this. This is a mouse on the side of the #2 throttle. It's a mouse nipple, like you get on a notebook. I have not used that for anything. I thought I would use that quite a bit. I really haven't. I've also not used this yet. This slider that I did in the first video, I said I don't know what that's for. That was stupid. It's a speed brake slider. I'm kind of not using it because I got so much control from all the other switches. I've not found a need to use that yet. On the front of the #1 throttle, you've got an up and a down switch here. I found that very, very useful for setting, say, zoom. So if I'm in a black shark and I'm targeting something, push down will be zoom in, push up will be zoom out. And then I have these two switches here that I'm typically using for countermeasures, which is counter to what you would normally do in a combat aircraft. Normally this thumb here would be your countermeasures, but I kind of like having an on and an off switch and have, like, that is on, that is off. So there's that. What else have we got? I guess in terms of complaints, if you look at the twist here, I don't normally run with a twist rudder on a joystick. I just don't like it. I did start doing that. Saitek asked me to do the setup for Sun and Fun coming up in Lakeland, Florida in a couple of weeks for this joystick set with the Black Shark at the show. I'm going to be there flying it with this. And so I had to set it up with a twist rudder. There is a tiny bit, you can almost kind of see it. We'll zoom in. You can almost kind of see it there, but there's a tiny bit of movement before you trigger any rudder movement. And then the rudder movement feels, maybe it's just because it's new and I don't use it, but it feels a little notchy as you twist this. It's a little notchy, a little bit notchier, I guess, than using rudder pedals. But then again, you don't have that fine control with your feet if you're using rudder pedals. So I didn't find that a problem. I live streamed flying the Black Shark with this setup as a twist rudder. I didn't have a problem with that, just personal preference. It just felt a little bit notchy. Overall, the texturing of this is fantastic. Although it's plastic, it's that soft touch, non-slip, rubberized kind of plastic feel. Your hands never really sweat using this. They certainly don't slip using this. I had no problems at all with using this for extended periods of time. Absolutely adore this. I guess the only other thing will be the software. I'm going to do a separate video on the X55 software. It's a rehash of the existing Saitek software, the SST programming suite. So it initially looks very different. It is skimmed differently for the X55, but it's the same basic functionality as the old SST software. I was kind of hoping to see new software there. It doesn't really matter that much. I know people complain about it, but it is actually phenomenally powerful.
Alright, so here we are in DCS Huey, the UH-1. Not my favorite helicopter because it's actually very, very hard to fly and I'm not very good at it yet. But it is one of the trickiest to fly, and it's one of the main reasons I wanted to get hold of this joystick, the X55. Because of the interchangeable springs, it means that it's very well suited to flying helicopters, especially sensitive ones like this. So I'm going to try and take off here. I'm going to play a little follow the leader around the harbour here. I'm not using the twist throttle, the twist rudder. I do have rudder pedals. I have used the twist rudder. I did set up the Black Shark profile for use at Sun and Fun on Saitek stand using the twist rudder, and it's actually pretty cool. Here we go. So just trying to turn the aircraft around now. Going to trim this nose down a little bit. Pick up a little bit of speed. Already see there our buddy is turning. Gently lowering the collective. One of the things I like about this in a helicopter, other than the light spring on the joystick, is how smooth the throttles are. They are not loose. They do require some force to move them. Not a lot. But you know when you're moving them. And they are so incredibly smooth and precise. You can put in very, very fine adjustments to the collective in a helicopter. No guessing involved. It works exactly as it should. Alright, he's getting away from me quite a bit. So we're going to pitch the nose down, increase the collective gently. Just trying to pick up a lot more speed here so we can catch our wingman, who is vanishing off into the distance. Hopefully you can already see how smooth this is, and given that I don't fly the Huey because it is terribly hard, I have not put in the hours on it yet to fly it properly. It's pretty impressive. This was actually one of the most impressive experiences I had with the X55, was firing up the Huey here. Realizing, hang on, with a good joystick, this isn't so bad. There's our wingman. We're catching him up now. Just going to get a little bit of a lead pursuit on him. We should intercept him. Very easy to make fine adjustments to keep this in a level flight. Notice the VVI, vertical speed indicator, is not changing too much. We're currently climbing. There we go, just bringing it down now. Very easy to stabilize that at straight and level. Just Retrimming the aircraft now, dropping the collective a bit more. Over here on the right is the harbour that we're going to explore, so we're catching him up now. So then the trick is going to be to put in fine enough adjustments to somewhat fall into formation with him. So dropping the collective, nosing up, letting the speed come down, try not to climb too much, and there we go. Just watching his position in the canopy now, adjusting the pitch, the roll, try to keep him at the same position. He got away from me there. And away we go. Now, a helicopter that I am very confident in is the Black Shark, so without further ado, let's jump on over and see how the X55 performs in the Black Shark. So here we are now in the eponymous Black Shark. Devastatingly powerful helicopter. Just going to trim this nose down a little bit, get some speed up, stop the shake that's going on there. Shake is going on because this mission starts you off in a rapid descent. There we are. Now I think, there, I have my zoom on the thumb here. Using track IR obviously for this. I actually did develop the profile for Sun and Fun for this aircraft, for this joystick with the twisty throttle, sorry, twisty rudder, and with this as a point of view hat. I'm not currently using it in that configuration, but before we go any further, let's go in. I'm going to go down here, we're going to arm the aircraft, so we're all armed now. We will turn on, I've got switches bound down here. There's ground moving target. That's the laser. Let's auto turn the target, we'll turn that off. Zoom out. And we know our targets are off to the left a little bit here. This is a shooting range, so opening up Schval. What I would actually do is bring down the helmet mounted sight now. We'll turn towards our targets. While we're doing that, I have on my thumb here the weapon select, so I've just gone to the outer stations, which are the wire-guided rockets, Vickers rockets. Try to find these targets here. Key with the Black Shark, obviously, is smooth inputs and smooth control. There's the target actually on the right. Smooth inputs and smooth control. Because it's a helicopter, but also because it's a weapons platform, you need it to be fairly stable. You need to be able to put in minute adjustments. The last thing you want to do is go careening into a hot target zone at 200 miles an hour without any care in the world. You really want to be able to control this, get it slow. See what I'm trying to do right now. So there we are, we're looking at the target area. Going to bring the hat down here, bring the camera up, as you can see. Just feeling a little collective now. We're going to search for our targets here. So using the second hat here to just slew the Schval system around. See if we can find our targets. Very decisive clicks on that hat. You're never under any doubt that you just clicked it. It's pretty cool in that respect. Now, something a lot of people have expressed concern about is the lack of a dual stage trigger. That's not a problem. You can get around that with Saitek's own software by setting a modifier in. So a modifier plus the trigger would be the first stage pull, and then the trigger without that modifier would be second stage pull. Actually, I'm out of range. There's the target's over there. There we go. It's not a big deal. To be honest, I don't like using a two-stage trigger on joysticks that support it anyway. But some people do, so just bear that in mind. It does not have a two-stage trigger. You're going without. Now our targets are off to the right-hand side, so I'm going to get rid of my helmet mounted sight. We found the targets already. They're over there. So I have the front slidey switch on the throttles to zoom in. Just going to stabilize the camera there. We know the targets are off to the right of that camera. Bring the helicopter around. Trying to keep it fairly level. Alright, so targets are actually dead ahead of me, so I am going to bring the helmet mounted sight back up here. Slews are there. Moving up now, we're zoomed in, so very, very fine movement. There we go. There's our target area. Going to widen the target lockbox there, and we will lock on. Now we have to bring the helicopter around until we get a launch cue. surprised we're not getting it. Oh, we're probably not getting it because the laser's not on. There it is. Now it is. The laser is now on. Locked. I'll bring the nose of the aircraft around. Should get a C, launch cue, fire. Very precise. Very, very easy to control. Not a problem at all. Just going to unlock that. And we will slew to the next target. He's up there. Need to make the tracking gate a little bit wider for this one, I think. There he is. Put him on. And lock. Again, bringing the nose round very, very gently. Launch. Not a problem. This is a deadly joystick combination in something like DCS Black Shark. It really is. It's so precise and smooth. I have not used any other control device that I own since getting this. It's that good. I'm trying to lock him up here. See, the helicopter's moving, making locking quite hard, but it's still not a problem. Bringing the nose round very gently. We're moving in. We want to be quick. Lock and fire. Sure, we hit him. I need to try that once again. We are getting pretty close. Oh no, we hit him. We hit him. So let's unlock. We'll slew around once again. There are some targets on the right, so I'm going to shift my thumb forward. Choose the rockets this time, which is not going to do a lot of damage to a tank, but it's the principle. Okay, now I need to move the gun pipper down, rocket pipper down onto that for my launch. So just trimming the aircraft, releasing the trimmer, and launch. A little bit far. Obviously getting some recoil in the helicopter when I do that, but we're on target. Changing the guns. Some combat mix on him. And we will leave the target zone while dropping countermeasures. Now the obvious next question is, how does this do for general aviation? So let's go ahead and find out. We're going to fire up X-Plane. There's a reason I'm doing it in X-Plane, not FSX, and you'll see that in a few seconds' time. Alright, so here we are in Coronado's Centurion, C210 Centurion in X-Plane at Lima 52. Runway 29 ready to take off. Now the reason I'm using X-Plane is because X-Plane for many people has very, very, very twitchy control inputs. And this thing is just perfect. So let me just show you my control settings. I'm going to put the brake on before we do anything else, so I'm actually ready to go, but let's put this brake on. Oops. There we go. So brake's on. Let me show you how I have the controls set up in here. So we go to joystick and equipment, go to the axis and null zone. You can see everything's pretty much left. So most realism, linear inputs on everything. Again, not using a twisty rudder just because I choose not to, not because there's anything wrong with it. I actually quite like it. I just prefer using my pedals, especially for doing a video like this. Button assignments is great in this because everything has a button. So each of these switches is an individual button. So you can see this toggle here is flaps down, this toggle here is flaps up. That one's landing gear down, landing gear up. The Centurion has retractable gear. Also on the axis, you have a number of sliders here, a number of rotating knobs here. So this top one, I've actually got for my prop mixture. This one underneath here, sorry, my prop, the one underneath here is my mixture. These two rotaries down the bottom here, this is great, I love this. I have for elevator trim and rudder trim. I've never actually used a rotary or a slider for controlling trim. And it's amazing how much more useful that is than using keys all the time. Anyway. Here we are, let's just check our lights are on. We'll do everything by the book somewhat. So, no, they were not on. They were on, actually. They're all good there. Everything's looking pretty nice. Okay, so we're just going to take off and just fly out and see what it's like. Now remember, the issue here is that for most people, let me just adjust. Whoa, there's my track IR giving me craziness. There's that rotating knob there for takeoff trim. For most people, the controls in X-Plane are too twitchy. I want to show you, and for me even as well, I need to change the control settings and that null zone stuff that I just showed you to reduce the twitchiness of most of my controllers, not this one. I was really quite amazed. And again, this is another reason why I've not bothered using any other controller since getting the X52. Really, I haven't used the yoke, I haven't used my Warthog, nothing. Just the X52. It's that good. Okay, so speed's coming up now. Let's speed alive. Rotate. So up we go. Look how smooth that is. Positive rate gear up. Try to hold a fairly constant climb. We're rotating to the left, so let's put in some rudder trim to the right. Look, I can just feed the rudder trim in until the aircraft starts behaving itself. Same with that pitch trim. We want to pitch nose down. Just like in a real aircraft now. I can actually rotate this knob until I don't have to exert pressure on the stick or the yoke. It's pretty cool. Alright, flaps up. Turn to the left here and see how we do. So incredibly smooth. Making a climbing time, I'm going to climb up to about 1,000 feet. I'll try to hold 30 degrees. We went a little bit over there. Going up on 1,000 feet now. So I'm going to ease up on the power. Trim this nose down a little bit. Keep on turning. More nose down trim. I love that I can do that now. I love that I can just turn a knob here, a rotary, and set my trim. Look how easy that is. We're pretty much trimmed level without holding nasty buttons down. And we can look down visually at the notch on this dial to see how the trim is set at any point in time. Love that feature. There we go. Just trimming nose down and we're good to go. There is Lima 52 Oceano down there. Just fly on out over here and see how we do. Quite a windy day, so lots of rudder trim being fed in. I think overall you should be able to see by now how incredibly smooth this joystick is. I mean, it really is bonkers. The level of precision that you have with this joystick is absolutely unbelievable. See if we can turn back to the airport. We're not doing a proper circuit or anything, but we'll see if we can turn back and try to get this aircraft in good shape for some form of approach. I have the paddle on the front of the stick there for recentering track IR. It's a usability pattern I'm somewhat familiar with from most of my other joysticks. The finger paddle, pinky paddle, is reset track IR. I normally have the finger button, the pinky switch button, whatever down here, set for disable track IR as well. Right, we're very out of sorts here. We're not going to be able to land or anything. But this is X-Plane. Another reason we're using this sim and not FSX. What we can do is just go up to situations here. Location, low global aircraft, select global location, runway 29, 3 mile approach. There we go. Let's just set my trims up here. Into the white arc on the speed. Pretty low at this point, but that's fine. So we're approaching the white arc now, first stage of flaps. Flaps comes down, the nose comes up. So more trimming, gear down. What I would do is just gently trim this because I'm going to let go of the stick in order to move this blind. There we go. It's a no-brainer. Alright, so lined up now, a little bit low, but that's fine. Next stage of flaps here, we're going to bring the nose up by doing that, so we'll trim again. Just rotate the rotary. Less power now. Again, we have that crosswind. It is affecting this approach a little bit. Speed is looking good. Going to float this down onto the runway. Look how fine adjustments I'm feeding in here. You can see the stick has such a light spring in it right now. I prefer the light spring actually for everything. That I'm not having to move the stick very much at all. And it's so precise. Alright, off the power now. Easing up on our rate of descent. Let it float on down. There we go. Another reason for using X-Plane to show you that is I can show you the replay very, very quickly and easily. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's toggle replay mode here. We'll go to an external view. Just wind this back about a minute. There we go. You can see how smooth that approach and that landing was. Look. Spin the camera for you. Perfect.
Anyway, but my overall conclusion with this, I love this joystick and throttle set. I absolutely adore it. As I said, since I got it, I've not used anything else, and that's not because I have to do this review, it's because I don't want to use anything else. Jumping in X-Plane, where controls are traditionally very, very, very twitchy for all aircraft, this is a dream. It's so precise, you feel like a pro as soon as you take off with this. It suits me for flying the Airbus, it suits me for flying 737s, the twin throttle we got on the left hand, it suits me for flying fighters, it suits me for everything that I use a joystick and a throttle set for. I have not used anything else since getting this, I don't intend to use anything else now this review's done. This is my HOTAS of choice. X55 from Saitek. It's about $200. It's in very short supply. It's quite hard to get hold of right now because it's so new and everybody seems to want one, and they want one rightly so. Saitek have a winner. This thing is phenomenal.